This video is brought to you by Miniature Market. Thousands of board games, discounted prices, miniaturemarket.com.
Hello my friends, it's the Game Boy Geek here. Gen Con is about a week away, and this is big. It's Gen Con 50. It's the 50th year, and so I'm gonna have a couple of videos about Gen Con. Now this one is different from most because this is the best games that I've played that are releasing at Gen Con. Now all the games on this list over the past few months I've been able to play, and so I want you to know about them because all of these are gonna be releasing at Gen Con, and they're all going to be for sale. You can, now some of these might be in very limited quantities, but they will be for sale there. So this is basically the ones that I'm saying you need to go check these out because I think they're excellent. And so this is different from anticipated because that'll be a list that comes a little bit later this week of the ones that I'm looking forward to, but these ones I've already seen and they're tested, tried, and true. So these are ones that you're gonna definitely wanna check out, so let's get started.
Number 7.
The first one is Psychotic. This is from IDW, and this is sort of an abstracted tile laying game, but it is gorgeous. It's sort of this little Japanese garden where you're placing these different birds in the garden. As you place birds on the board, you're gonna get points for how many other birds of that same type are surrounding it. However, you have to think about the long game too, because each player sits on a different side of the board. And depending on how they're sitting, they're gonna be looking down columns in different ways that you are, because you're gonna be sitting on a different side of the board. And so at the end of the game, each of these tiles not only have a bird on it, but on the edges they have flowers. And for each of the same flowers that are in the same row that's going straight down your vantage point, you're gonna get bonus points at the end of the game. So you're playing this and you're trying to lay tiles for points now, you're trying not to set up other people for big turns, but you're also looking at what that player is working on for long term. And you might have a tile that's really good for you right now, but it's going to really help them because the end game bonus points scale pretty fast. And so there's some interesting now versus end game points, and it's a beautiful production. The artwork is awesome. It's a very, I would say, relaxing tile laying game. It can be a little mean, but not necessarily too bad. So this is a family level tile laying game that's gorgeous. It takes about 30 minutes or less to play, and that's from IDW.
Number 6.
All right, the next one is Dragon Island. This is coming out from R&R Games, and it's designed by Mike Fitzgerald, who almost always has done card games. He is the card game king. This guy has done all the Mystery Rummy series. He's working on a legacy card game. He's done Baseball Highlights 2045, and now this is sort of his first like normal big box size board game coming up from R&R Games. I got a chance to play this over a year ago at the Rocky Mountain Gaming Vacation from Icarus Tours, and it was in prototype form then, so it may have changed since then, but I thought it was an interesting game. It's a tile laying game where you're basically playing tiles. Those tiles are double-sided, they have different colors, and you're getting a certain amount of action, energy action, so how many action points you have, based upon the tile you've placed, which color it is, and how many of those colors are surrounding it. So you're placing tiles in different spots, puzzling things around. The board is being built as the game goes on. So naturally, as the game goes on, you'll have more and more choices. So it's pretty focused at the beginning, and then it really expands as the game goes on. You can also be able to pay gold to move dragons from where you're at into your own pet, into your own pen to have them as a pet. When you have a dragon as a pet, it allows you to fly to other tiles that is the color of that dragon. Plus, all the dragons of the different types and colors give you different special abilities, which will allow you to break the game. So I really like that aspect of it. You can also try to capture a bunch of dragons and get points. And there's also these hidden treasure map cards that you have, and you're trying to line up tiles on the board so that they're at a specific location. Think of sort of Takinoko-ish with the tile bonuses, but it's not necessarily a specific, like left, right, and center. You just have to have a certain amount of each of the tiles around certain things, and you can cash in these treasure cards for points as well. So there's a lot going on. There's some good depth there. It's a lot of fun, and from looking at the pictures, it looks like R&R knocked it out of the park with the production value. But when Mike Fitzgerald touches something it's this big and I've already played it, this is definitely gonna be one to check out at R&R Games booth, and I believe Mike Fitzgerald's gonna be there in person giving demos and signing copies.
Number 5.
The next one is Stop Thief. This is from Restoration Games, one of the 3 titles that they're coming out with at Gencon. This is a redo or reimplementation of the 1979 game Stop Thief. I've already reviewed this game, both the full and an Allegro 2-minute style. I've also this week also released a rules school for this game, and so you can learn how to play it. Now this game comes with an app which allows you to help play the game because you're going to be moving around and trying to catch a thief. It's not cooperative, but it's not one versus many. There's one thief and everyone is trying to catch him, but the thief is moving sort of like an AI with an app, and you'll be hearing clues of hey, did you hear outdoor steps? Did you hear indoor steps? Did you hear a door open? Did you hear a window open? Did you hear a siren? He's in another stealing more things. And based upon the sounds you hear and in the order, you can deduce where the thief is, and you're trying to be the first one to get there to catch them to get money. And you need to catch probably about 3 or 4, maybe even more thieves depending on the amount of players before the game ends. But it's a ton of fun. It brings back the old, and you can even play the old 1979 board with this. They've modernized all the mechanisms. They've taken out the dice rolling. They've done card movement. Each player has their own character. They have different special abilities. So it's a really interesting one to check out at Restoration Games booth.
Number 4.
The next one is Custom Heroes from AEG. I got a chance to play this sit down at Gamma over in March in Las Vegas, and I absolutely fell in love with this game. It's a cool concept. You remember AEG came out with Mystic Veil last year or the year before. It was sort of a deck building game with a card crafting game where you would have the sleeve and you'd be putting cards in it, and there were transparencies and there were certain things in certain spots on there. So you could actually put like 3 or more cards in this transparencies in this sleeve, and you'd have this gigantic powerful card. Well, this uses that same card crafting system, but in I'm gonna call it more of a ladder climbing game. Some people might be calling it a trick taking game, but it's more card shedding or ladder climbing game. You're trying to get rid of all your cards, and you're trying to basically beat at least what's there. If someone throws a pair of 5s, you gotta play a pair, you gotta beat that. Pair of 6s, pair of 7s, something like that. However, as the game goes on, you'll have these transparencies that you can slide into your heroes to upgrade them. Sometimes they'll just automatically win the battle. Sometimes it'll modify the number, because maybe you have a 6 and a 5, and one might modify that 5 to a 6, which now allows you to beat that card that's the double 5s that's out there. And it's really interesting because at the end of the round, after everyone's kind of been doing this and putting their heroes in there, all the cards get shuffled up and divvied back out. So you might be powering up somebody to win a round, but that card's probably going to be in someone else's hand later. It's a really interesting mechanic. I really loved this game. It was really fun. It took about 45 minutes to an hour for a card game, and it's that ladder climbing style game. But man, powering up the heroes is so fun, and then it's got a very interesting way of some of the cards allow you to bet if you're going to win, and really interesting way. And then when you get to the end, you have to be able to be in first place to win, so people are jockeying for that. So it was one I really loved. I'm really looking forward to. That's Custom Heroes from AEG.
Number 3.
Now the next one was a Spiel des Jahres nominee. I've reviewed this one. It's called Magic Maze from Sit Down Games. This is a cooperative game, but you can't talk for most of the game. It's a puzzle. You have these heroes, and you're trying to move them around a mall. They're trying to get their items for their next big adventure. And so what's gonna happen is each player is going to be able to have only one or a couple more moves that they can do. Maybe I can move them up, he can move them left, she can move them down. This person can teleport them to different spots. This person can move them up escalators. And so you're moving and no one can talk, and you're trying to get them to explore new tiles, you're trying to get them to find their weapon, and then once everyone's there, you're trying to get them back. But there's a timer, and you've got to get someone to a timer in order to flip it to get more time, but nobody can talk. Except once the timer is there, everyone can talk without moving, and then you can kind of regroup and go. And it's just a very interesting cerebral co-op game. It's a ton of fun. It plays up to, I think, 8 players really well, and even plays well on all player counts. Think of Escape the Curse of the Temple, not as hectic. Think of it silent, but equally as tense. Really loved this game. Now this game is going to be there. They're airlifting some in. Sit Down Games won't be there, but it's going to be at booth 2709 Dude Games. So if you're looking for this, that's where you'll go, booth 2709. I know they're going to have very limited copies, but definitely check this one out.
Number 2.
The next one is a game that I did a sneak peek on after Gamma, and my review will be coming soon, and it is Codenames Duet. This is not just a 2-player version of Codenames, as the box might suggest, and people are saying. It's a cooperative version of Codenames that plays for 2 or more players. I've played it with 2, I've played it with more than 2. This game's amazing. It takes the original words of code names, it has 400 new words, has a new way to play cooperatively. It is so interesting. This game is more cerebral than the original, I think. It's a little bit harder, but you're basically both players are giving clues trying to win, but both players have 3 assassins, and those assassins could be a good clue for the other player on the other side, or it could be an assassin. You know this, so this game actually has a lot of deductive reasoning that goes on throughout the end. You're trying to get the clues, and even 3 of your clues between both players or both teams overlap. So you have that deductive element as well. And on top of that, they have a campaign mode where you can change the amount of right and wrong guesses you can get, and how many total guesses you can have. And so they really did a great job of taking code names. This is not just rehashed code names. This is as good, if not better, than the original, which I had originally given a 10. This game's amazing. So if you liked the original code names at all, you absolutely have to check this out because it is amazing.
Number 1.
All right, and the number 1 here for the ones I've played, for me, it's my favorite game I've played all year so far, and this is Whistlestop from Bezier Games. Now, this game hit all on cylinders for me because it's a tile laying game, which I like. You're gonna be laying tiles, moving your trains, which you have multiple of, from the East Coast to the West Coast. On the way, you're gonna be picking up goods, some common, some rare. Sometimes you're gonna be going and buying stock by turning in those certain goods, and you're gonna be trying to get majorities on stocks, with a huge bonus points at the end of the game. But you're also gonna be going to special tiles and getting whistles, which allow you to move through other trains that are blocking you. These tiles are kind of like Suro tiles, where they're snaking in and out and doing all sorts of things. So the board is going to change every game. Every game will feel different, and you're literally building the board as you play. You'll also be trying to rush to the end, because when your train gets to the end, it retires to a yard, and the faster you get there, the better bonuses you're going to get. You're also having big bonuses by getting there by turning in goods as well. So it's sort of a pick up, deliver, stock and stock majority, and tile laying game. And it really is, it's a very puzzly game, which is why I love it. Takes about 60 to 75 minutes to play. Plays 2 to 4 players, and it's really, really good. I loved it, and that is Whistlestop from Bezier Games. Well, I hope this list really helped you out in your planning of Gen Con, because again, these are tried and true games that I've already played, that I really liked, and that you should definitely check out because they will be for sale for Gen Con. Now, if you're interested as to which ones I'm anticipating, well, later this week, that'll be coming up. So if you want to see that and you haven't yet subscribed, go ahead and subscribe. So later this week, you can see what my most anticipated games for Gen Con is. We'll see you then.
This video was sponsored by Miniature Market's Review Corner. The Review Corner features podcasts, video, and written game reviews by gamers for gamers. Miniature Market, the online gaming superstore. Thousands of board games, discounted prices. Check them out at miniaturemarket.com.